what does a fish use to pick its nose with? Its fingers, of course. Yes, it's what I thought. Best crack on, eh? Okay, guys and gals, yes, not done a Raw Therapee video for a bit, and so we're going to do a Raw Therapee video and a look at what we've got inside the development build and what is coming in the eagerly anticipated version 5.9 public release. Is it going to be called version 6? I doubt it. I think it's going to be called version 5.9. Anyway, I'm inside the dev build here, and I'm running inside Linux, yes, on my Mac, which is running inside Parallels, yeah? And so there we go. And what I'm going to talk to you today about is local adjustments, yes. Or like Lightroom, but on steroids, yes. Anyway, before we go any further, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Leave a nice comment below if that takes your fancy. Share it with your friends. If you're not already subscribed, click the subscribe button down there, yes, and click the old ringety-tingety bell thingy, yeah, just next to the subscribe button to get a notification of next time I put a video up. Yes. Oh, all exciting stuff, eh? Right, so local adjustments. So we're here inside Raw Therapee, and I'm going to do a couple of videos on local adjustments, because local adjustments can be local and they can also be local but global. Yes. Oh, it's all exciting stuff, I tell you. But we're going to start off with this really simple shot. But before I go into it, because you can guess, this is Raw Therapee we're talking about. So the local adjustment tools are going to be something a bit special, aren't they? Let's put it like that. The titles on the controls make you think you should really have a PhD in rocket science, but well, there we go. It's one of those things. But just to refresh everybody's memory who's a Lightroom user, as if you need your memory refreshing, if we head off over to Lightroom, and here we've got this same shot, if I go and get, say, a local adjustment brush, and you can see we've got a brush center and we've got a brush edge, and that gap between the two is a feather, which is controlled with the feather control, and so we can change the feather control and make the outer circle come closer to the inner circle. We can also change the ratio, the size of the brush overall. And really and truly, the only things we've got to control it with are auto mask, okay, which basically only adds it to the pixels that are under the crosshairs in the middle of the brush, and the density. And then, of course, if we do go and put an adjustment brush on there, the only thing we've got to limit the scope of that overall adjustment is either a colour range mask or a luminance range mask. Right, now a lot of people think that's brilliant, and up to a point it is, but it's still nonetheless a brush, alright? And even if we use radial graduated filters or linear graduated filters, when we want to tickle them, we tickle them with a brush. Yes, and brushes are not exactly the most accurate thing on the bloody planet, are they? No. So, I'm going to shut Lightroom down, badong, rather like that, skip this time, because I don't want to see it again, and so here we are, back inside of Raw Therapee. This, as I said before, is the dev build. Now you can go and download the dev build if you're on a Windows machine, and you can just run it, install it on your machine, and away you go. And the dev build is fundamentally updated every 24 hours. It's what you call a nightly build, and so it's constantly changing, and you might not notice the changes. It might be a speed change in the background, or whatever. But the dev team do a nightly build. Now that is available in Windows, and it's also available in Linux. It'd be great if it was available in Mac as well, but it isn't, because there aren't enough guys on the dev team to actually do a nightly Mac build. I'm on a Mac, as you all know, and so what I've done is I've invested in Parallels, and so I run a Linux system within Parallels on my Mac, and so I have the nightly build in Linux. And what was I going to say? Christ, I've lost my bloody thread. Yeah, if you don't want to pay for Parallels, there are a couple of free virtual operating system environments that you can have for Mac. VirtualBox is the one I started out with, but it's just a pain in the arse. So I just bit the bullet and went for Parallels. So anyway, there we go. That's me waffle over, right? So anyway, having the dev build, it's a bit like having a subscription for free to Adobe Photoshop and Lightroom, because you get constantly updated software. So you're always on the very latest version. So if you want to have a go with this, head off over to, you're best off heading over to the Raw Therapee forum over on pixels.us and asking about it over there. It took me ages to install it, so don't ask me. Yeah, you know me, I'm not technical. No, not when it comes to machines. Anyway, so let's cut the crap now and get on with this local adjustment jobby. Now, yeah, wouldn't you love your own tank? I would. But if I blow this image up to 100% and I just come over to this indicator here that's looking rather grubby, let's go and brighten that indicator up, shall we? Let's make it look as if it's not quite so dull. So I'm actually going to blow it up a little bit more, and I'm going to bring it into the middle of the screen, rather like that. And I'm going to come over to this hand tool here, which is the tab for the local adjustments. And so we'll activate local adjustments. And really and truly, I think when you activate that, this show additional settings thing should be active. But well, there you go. So we click add, and we'll go show additional settings. And we'll come to the additional settings in a bit. Now, this spot can either be elliptical or it can be rectangular. Either way, it doesn't really make a great lot of difference. So I've been told by Jacques, who's the senior dev on this, and senior dev on quite a lot of stuff is good old Jacques. Hello, Jacques, if you're watching this. Nice one, buddy. So I'm just going to stick with the normal default ellipse. And I just want to explain what's going on here. You can think of this a little bit like Lightroom. A little bit. This center spot here, which we can change the size of, okay, is the spot which governs the colors and tones which are going to be adjusted. All right. So I want to adjust sort of, I'm trying to pick the best average area for the lighter parts of this amber lens on this indicator light here. Is it an indicator light? Do tanks actually go left turn coming up? I don't know. But anyway, it's got indicators on. I can't see a tank having hazards on, can you? Oh dear God. Right, so we can change the size of the spot. So what the hell is this oval? Well, you'll notice this oval's got 4 points on it. And these 4 points are what you refer to as the delimiters. And these delimiters fundamentally say this is as far as the adjustment can go. All right? So in a way, That's like the centre part of a Lightroom brush, and this is like the outside, the feather radius, but not quite. But it's a bit similar, right? So you get the concept. So what you do is you place your centre spot over the colour, tone, area that you want to adjust. So we've got it placed over there, and I've chosen that area, as I said before, because it's the flattest part of, it's flat from colour and tone, as opposed to this sort of highlight area here. So there we go. And what we can do is, to that spot, we can add any number of available tools, and the available tools are here, colour and light. And if you wonder what the number is the level order in the actual processing workflow that goes on in the background. I forgot what you call it now, but it's the order in which things are done in the background on your image by Raw Therapee. And obviously the smaller the number, the closer that step is to the actual operation of demosaic and normalise of your raw file. So I just thought I'd throw that in for good measure, just to show that I sort of know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I'm feeling quite giggly today, I don't know why. But anyway, I'm just going to go to colour and light, and we can add multiple tools to any one spot. I'm not going to bother with all this malarkey down here, and I'm not going to bother with standard or advanced. We're just going to keep it in basic, and I'm going to lighten this up. Now, straight away, you've seen that the hazard light, or the indicator light, is lit up. But you can also see that some of the tank's camouflage bodywork is lifted as well. Now, there's two reasons for that. I've actually not bothered delimiting this brush, or this adjustment spot, I should say. So I'm going to bring in the delimiter points, and you can see as I bring that delimiter in there, you can see the adjustments going off the side. So what you've got to do is to make as an efficient setting with your delimiter points as possible. I'd actually prefer it if we could have more delimiter points, and it would be useful if they were circular instead of elliptical, and it would be useful if you could rotate them as well, and I think all that will come in very short order. So there you go. So we've actually brought the delimiter points in, but we still need to be able to preview what is going on and what's going to happen. In other words, we need to make a mask. Now you remember we've got those range masks inside of Lightroom, which you can basically control the colour or the tone to which they apply and which they don't apply. But that's about it. Oh, watch this. I'm just going to hit preview. Now, where this preview is green, I'm just going to turn this module on here, and that should start to get you excited. Look at the title of the module. Shape detection. Yes, really cool. So when we open shape detection, we can see delta E scope threshold, delta E decay, ABL balance delta E, CH balance delta E, and delta E preview color intensity. Right, and straight away your head's gone poof. Correct? Well, first of all, delta E. You've heard me talk about delta E when I've reviewed screen calibrators and the i1 Studio the other week. Delta E, all it is you all know that E is exposure. Delta, difference possibly, and it's just a way of looking at how you differentiate between one colour and tone and another colour of tone that's adjacent to it. And if you remember back when I talked about screen calibrators and this, that and the other, I always quote you Delta E 2000 numbers. I don't know what this Delta E specification is, but that's sort of what Delta E is. It's what it is and what it isn't, where it does apply, where it doesn't apply, and how much of a Delta E difference you've got to actually describe where this mask basically works and where it doesn't work. On, off, all right, black, white, even though it is green. Right, so we've got these adjustments here, and you can see that I've got the indicator set over to green. Okay, let's make it a little bit greener. So everywhere where you can see green, this adjustment is going to apply. Everywhere where it appears black and white, if you look at the blue sky, it's gone grey. That means it's gone into sort of monochrome. Where it's monochrome, the adjustment isn't going to apply. So if I make a change to the Delta E threshold, you can see as I bring it down, more of these this sort of reinforcement cage, it's getting a little bit less green. If we go for the Delta E decay, if we move it to the right, it doesn't make a lot of difference. If we move it to the left, let's go and have a look at AB, which is in lab. Don't forget, all these adjustments are taking place in the lab colour space or the lab colour model on this image. And so L, as we know, is brightness, lightness, luminance, whatever you like to call it, and AB are the two colour channels in the lab colour space. So if we move more towards light or move it more towards dark, we can see that we do affect a certain amount of change. Let's take the scope threshold up a little bit, and let's take the decay up a little bit too. And as you can see now, oh, look at that. Now all of the bodywork of the tank is now black and white. The sky is black and white, it's gone grey. The only place you can see the green in this Delta E preview is actually on the lens of the indicator or hazard warning light, the orange flasher. So let's just take the scope colour tool slider, which is always set to a default of 30. Let's make it go a little bit more to the right, and now you can see I've actually started to bring this adjustment back where I don't want it. So all we'll do is just turn that scope down until I've got it exactly where I need it. Now we've got a highlight area in there, so if we bring this slider back, we start to pick up a little bit more of that highlight too. Let's just see if we can refine it any more. There we go. You just have to sort of play around with the actual settings, and there we go. And I'm quite happy with that adjustment. So if I now turn off the preview Delta E, now I can go and maybe add a little bit more lightness, not too much. Let's add a little bit of contrast to it to thump that shadow up, and then just let's up the chrominance, and there we go. It's a bit of an over the top adjustment, but you could see this very clearly on the video. Right, so I can now hide the delimiters in the spot, and then I can go and turn local adjustments off, on, and you can see we made a humongous difference. Maybe it's a difference for the better, I don't know. I'm just using this for illustrative purposes. Right, so the next thing I want to do is to show you a slightly different approach, and you can see we've got various bits of red. We've got red on this gentleman's work gloves here. We've got red on his little badge on his Dickies overalls, and we've got manky red paint on the toolbox. and we've got a little bit of red there. Now, if we want to lighten that red, yes, we could go in there with lots of little local adjustment spots like we've just done for the indicator, but we can actually go in and change them all at this same time. And how I'm going to do that, I'm just going to come out to a slightly reduced view so I can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to go add, and we're going to go show additional settings. And I'm going to change this from an ellipse to a rectangle. The next thing I'm going to do is to move the spot so it's over, let's just say, the red on this glove here. It could be over the red of this paint, but it's not quite as solid because it's scratched, battered paintwork. So we're actually going to just put it over a solid area of red, which is on his glove there. And then I'm going to expand this spot, or this rectangle, until it covers or encompasses all the reds in the image. Now I'm going to keep it off the indicator because there will be an element of red in that indicator, so I'm just going to place that just about there. So I'm encompassing all the reds in the image. And then what we're going to do is add to current tool or current spot, colour and light again, and we will take up the lightness, and you can see all the red areas are being affected. So we can take the lightness up, we could bring the contrast down a little bit, and we could go and take the chrominance up quite considerably, rather like that. Again, it's an over the top image, but this is just for demonstration purposes on this video. So there we go, and then we can go and hide the delimiters and the center spot for that adjustment. And then if I go and turn local adjustments off and then turn them on, you can see collectively we've made quite a big difference to that image. Alrighty, let's go and add another rectangle. So we'll go show additional settings, change it from an ellipse to a rectangle, and now I'm going to place the center spot in the sky, and we're going to expand the delimiters outside and off the image edges, rather like this. Okay, and then I'm going to go add tool to current spot. And what we're going to do now, let's go colour and light again, and let's just say we'll add saturation or chrominance to the sky. Whoa, rather like that. That's massively over the top. Yeah, now just see we've got a little bit up here of lightening. In other words, that adjustment isn't reaching right to the image bounds. Now what we can do to cure that is to extend the delimiters further away, and we can also come into the actual scope color tools and we can lift that up a little bit, but the main way of adjusting that will be to come into transition gradient and take the transition value all the way up to 100. And that means that that adjustment that we've just made to that sky will go all the way to the edges of the delimiter. If I bring the edge of this delimiter in, you can see if I go and hide the delimiters, you can see that that is a very, very hard edge. Whereas if I take the transition value down, you can see the edge becomes very soft. Alrighty, so that needs to go back up there. That needs to be made visible again, and we need to take that out there. So now we've got a very, very big change to that image. We'll go and hide the delimiters, and so we've accrued quite a large difference to that image overall. So this is how you learn to play with the local adjustment inside of the either the raw dev, the raw development build, or the Raw Therapee dev build, I should say, which I recommend you should all look into some way of getting it on your system. My only problem with using it in Linux is I can't export directly to Photoshop, because Photoshop and as far as I'm aware, no Adobe products work in Linux, but I know Lightroom and Photoshop don't. If you're a GIMP user, you're laughing. So, well, there you go. So that's just a brief indication of the sort of thing that's going on inside the upcoming public release of Raw Therapee, and what's currently going on inside the dev build, which everybody in the world could actually go and get access to if you wanted to. Righty. In the next video, I'm going to sort of be showing you how, I'll just pull this image up, how we can change this image. Now, this is a typical sort of off-day landscape shot where the sky is really a heck of a lot brighter than the actual landscape, and I'll be showing you how you can use local adjustments to make huge differences to the dynamic range of this image, to the sky, to the foreground, and we'll be bringing into play a lot of those shape detection tools, and because we'll be able to get perfect, absolutely perfect alignment with the edges of the leaves on this tree. And I'll also be showing you one or two little dodges and wheezes on this landscape shot of mine, which one or two of you may have seen before, where we get into the problems that can arise inside these areas of sky between the trees. Anyway, that's all coming in the next video, which won't be any more than sort of 6 or 7 days away. And so, yeah, until the next time, guys, hope you've enjoyed this. Hope you've got something useful out of it. If you have, give it a thumbs up. Leave a nice comment below if you've got something bad to say. Yep, that's right. Same as before. Keep it to your bloody self. And do you want me to keep telling you a dad joke at the start of every video? Maybe, maybe not. Let me know in the comments below. All right, guys and gals, stay safe, stay well in this increasing COVID time. Yes, just be careful out there, okay? And keep taking the pictures. And I'll see you very soon. Tooroo.